Hello again, rivals. This is Xonia, and you are in the zone. As a quick update before we begin today's video, I just want to say thank you to all of my subscribers again. We are currently just over 95 subscribers. Hopefully by next week we'll hit 100, and if we hit 100 subscribers, I'm going to go ahead and just do something fun, hopefully a nice little video for you guys. Don't get too excited though, just something interesting, hopefully. Maybe a giveaway, we'll see. But I don't want my site, I don't want this channel to be about getting stuff from giveaways and things like that. I only want you to subscribe to my site if you actually think that it's worth watching. So I won't be doing a whole lot of these, and don't expect too many more of these in the future, but I do just want to say thank you so much to everyone who is subscribed to my channel. I really appreciate all of the comments and the feedbacks that you've been giving me, both here on my site through the comments, or my guildmates back in our guild message board trying to help me improve and let me know what they think of this, and also just for those of you who have been messaging me in your off time as well. Thank you so much for all of the feedback that you've been giving me, and I hope that we can continue this relationship into the future. So, today we'll be doing our clan review, taking an in-depth look at the Frozn clan. I absolutely love the Frozn clan. From concept to actual cards, it's an absolutely wonderful clan. So many of the Frozn cards are just pure gold, and I don't mean because it's a rare heavy clan. In their ability, stat, and bonus, I just absolutely love this clan. Recently, they've become even more ridiculously good, and it's only going to get better. Okay, I need to stop fanboying over here or you're all going to stop watching the video before it begins. Today we'll be covering their theme, a breakdown of their stars and rarities, a cost, clan comparisons, bonus, breakdown of their power and damage, LD, CR, Miss, Noel, and RB cards, ELO bands, a breakdown of their abilities, my favorite card, the best and worst, underestimated cards, some deck examples, a little extra info, and some clan comparisons. So, let's get into it today. First, the theme of Frozn. The theme is futuristic tech meets winter. So, lots of snow and ice, massive yetis, and a strange substance called cryoplasma. Our Clint City fighters include killer yeti nannies, snowboarders, snow tech inventors, animal masters, sentient ice, and several people who've been affected by this cryoplasma. Global warming must be stopped, and they're about to bring the hurt to anyone who tries to heat things up. As for a breakdown of their stars and rarities, Frozn contains 9 2-star cards, 10 3-star cards, 8 4-star cards, and 7 5-star cards. It has 9 rare cards, 11 uncommon cards, and 12 common cards. Of its 34 cards, all 34 still retain some usefulness in today's meta, meaning all of their cards are useful. And I might say this clan probably has the best selection of solid cards in the entire game. They're basically all good. Frozn is a special clan, almost in a class of its own, because it's the only clan to buff 2 things, both power and damage. It's even highly comparable with Berserk and Freaks, given their revenge bonus is usable only once, or at best twice a match. As we look at these comparisons, we must remember that Frozn is a young clan, so of course it will have far less cards to choose from than other clans. However, other clans have historically had issues because many older cards no longer, or just barely, work in today's meta. This means that they have many decent cards with great abilities that have horrible base stats, or have been outclassed by recent additions to the game. So while Frozn may have less cards, almost all of their cards count, which means that no abilities are wasted on outdated cards, and that makes for a very deadly clan, despite having a smaller card pool. Here are the comparisons with the other clans. The power clans, the damage clans, and one. Up next, let's take a look at the cost. All of the prices for this one are listed in the thousands because I'm comparing them across many different clans. As you can see, Frozn currently has the cheapest cost for all adjusted cards. So the Frozn cards are extremely easy for new players to both buy and get into. They have one of the 3 cheapest commons, 3 cheapest CRs, 3 cheapest overall costs, and the absolute cheapest uncommon. Compared with all of the other clans, you can see that Frozn is much easier to buy all of the cards for. Costing approximately 135,000 clints for all of the classic cards, if you follow my video for daily clints earning, you should be able to easily earn 1,000 clints a day without too much effort. This means that it'll take about 136 days, or about only 4.5 months to collect everything in this clan, with minimum efficient effort. If you're lucky with your daily commons or put in some more effort for DTs, then clearly you could earn the entire clan a bit faster. Of course, this also assumes that you want every single card in the clan. So Frozn is an excellent clan, not only for beginners to get into, but they're also very potent in ELO, which means that this clan is currently very much worth the amount that you'll pay for it. Next, let's take a look at the cross-clan comparisons. This is the cross-clan comparison that you may have been waiting for all along. Since Frozn combines so many things together, I think it's best to compare them overall to all of the categories that they belong to, both power clans, damage clans, and one-time bonus use clans. Let me quickly explain the coloring system. Gold, silver, and bronze backgrounds are for the top 3, obviously. Red numbers, however, are for the bottom 3, and a black background is for the absolute lowest. So when compared against the hard and fast damage clans, Frozn has higher power and less damage. But with their buff, they gain far more power and also a buff to their damage by a respectable amount, though still far less than the damage clans will reach, allowing them to dwarf damage clans in power and give them just enough damage, assuming that they're not facing DR. When compared with the power clans, they still destroy them in base power, though their damage is greatly lacking. With their bonus, however, their damage becomes not just comparable, but almost 1.5 higher, as well as keeping their power higher than most of the power clans would have buffed themselves. When compared with the one-time bonus use clans, they're actually quite comparable, though because there's no minimum, their overall stats are worse off than both, but will dwarf their opponents when it does work. They've got Berserk's base power, but Freak's base damage. This means that we can classify Frozn as such: a high power but low damage clan, an overpowered power clan with ridiculous damage when its bonus is active, or a one-use bonus clan that goes from strong to overpowered for 1 or 2 rounds a match. They strike a balance between all of these clan types, which means that they have specialized and taken strengths from them all: high base power and a massive plus power and damage for 1 or 2 rounds, so it's not too overpowered, and wrap them into an amazing nuking package. Before we move on though, I want to make sure that you notice something in this chart. The 3 worst clans, quote-unquote worst: Frozn, La Junta, and All-Stars. These 3 clans are currently some of the most used and top-tier clans for ELO and Tourney. Their base stats are the worst, quote-unquote, so they receive some of the best abilities in the game, combined with decent stats. The 3 best, quote-unquote, Berserk, Jungo, and Bangers, these are also widely used to get to the top-tier spots in ELO. You should notice that it's the ones in the middle, FPC, PC, Freaks, and Uluwatu, who don't get used quite as much, in my opinion. They are still used, of course, but maybe not quite as much. I'm not saying they're impossible to use or that they're unpopular, but just that I tend to see them much less often. Just a minor thing of note. Next, let's take a look at their bonus. As their bonus is Revenge, there will never be more than 2 chances to use their bonus, unless perhaps a leader is released, which can alter your conditions, which would almost solidify Frozn as the best clan in the game that instant, aside from perhaps when facing SOB clans. This means that generally, if you're facing a good opponent, you'll only get to use your Revenge bonus once. If they play into your hands, you may get 2 chances. The issue, though, is that the bonus requires you to be able to lose rounds. Be able to lose rounds. If your cards have too much power, or your other half deck is an attack manipulation half, then you may not be able to ult for a loss to activate your bonus the following round, which has cost many of my opponents the game. However, let me ask you the question at the heart of this clan's bonus, and the first one that you should be asking yourself anyway. Which bonus is more powerful? Rank them from best to worst. Frozen's Revenge plus 2 power and damage, a normal plus 2 damage bonus, or a normal plus 2 power bonus. This gets to the heart of the question, so take a moment and decide on your answer. Seriously, I want you to firmly have your own answer before we continue. Have you got it? Okay, I hope you've got at least some idea of what you think the best one is. Perhaps some of you said, oh, well, they're all equal. +2 power and +2 damage over 4 rounds is 8. And +2 power and damage over 2 rounds is 8. So in theory, they're equal. Well, sorry, but I have to say I have to disagree with you. Perhaps some of you took it the next step and said, but as you said, usually you'll only get 1 round with Frozn, so overall it's better to have the +2 for over 4 rounds, so they're both better than Frozn, both +2 damage or +2 power, and Frozn's bonus is the worst. Well, good job for taking it the next step, but I'm also going to have to disagree with you. Perhaps if you're a vet player, you went further and said, but even if I have that set +2 bonus, for damage clans, it's not always utilized or useful every round, so it's going to be variable for those, but it still depends on the situation. This is much closer to the answer, because now you've probably decided, +2 power is the best. But you're honestly just deflecting right now, so I'm going to say you're also wrong. You failed to set an answer firmly in your mind, the one thing I told you to do before we began. So now you're thinking, okay, what's the answer, Mr. Smarty Pants Xonia? Well, first off, thank you for the compliment. My pants are quite smart, in fact. And you can't doubt my answer because you've never seen my pants, and you never will. Okay, that joke just got weird. Anyway, back to the question. The answer is, to me, quite simply that Frozn's bonus, despite the revenge condition, is still better. As we've already pointed out, a set +2 damage would only benefit you on the rounds that you win, and perhaps via the illusion of a 2-hit KO possibility. But your power will probably be lower due to your damage bonus, requiring to use more pills, at least in ELO situations, or making your ability less versatile or stable. If you have a set +2 power, you'll get that every turn. However, you may ult, offering no practical bonus, and allowing a low pill to still catch your bluff. Or your power will still be lower if you sacrifice it for some of the bigger damage cards in your clan to keep up with the damage. So, you'd need to take 3 rounds. Additionally, with a set bonus, your base stats will take a hit to reflect that, and you'll suffer more against SOB. This allows Frozn to maintain one of the highest overall base powers in the game, and still get the plus power bonus. Also, when you do have your bonus, you're essentially getting 2 bonuses for 1, and when you win, both will count. If you only get 1 round, it's like activating your bonus twice, or once and getting a free Fury. On the round you want to win, you not only do more damage, but you also gain power to help you win, causing you to need less pills for winning that round. If you don't win, you'll force your opponent to spend more pills to outpill you, and then you'll get the same bonus again on the next turn. Once again, this also means on your off rounds, you should have spent less pills than normal to win, due to your power and damage bonus, making winning a second round, even without the bonus, easier. Also, you'll have done extra damage, benefiting you more than a straight +2 power, meaning you probably don't need to win 3 rounds. It also means lower star cards can 2-hit KO with higher star cards, unlike many other clans. And you may think, but we know what Frozn is doing, so it suffers the same as Freaks from predictability. However, a skilled Frozn player knows otherwise. Unlike Freaks, I don't lose out by waiting 1 or 2 turns, assuming that I'm only trying to get my bonus once. The Frozn bonus isn't damage over time, so any round will do. This means that I can decide to play quote-unquote out of turn, without any real penalty. Additionally, I also know that you're probably aware of the fact that I want to lose round 1 and round 3. Since I can afford to vary my playstyle, and I only need 1 round, my predictability has been placed onto my opponent now. I know that you're going to want to force me to win a round that I don't want to. So I can trap you by low-pilling early, just enough to beat your bluff card. And if I win, I just need 1 more round. If I lose, you've set me up for what I wanted anyway. It won't always work, but essentially Frozn's predictability can also be applied to their opponent. And with Frozn's ability to delay a round or 2 without any issue, unlike Freaks, this gives Frozn superior flexibility and adaptability to many situations. The Frozn bonus is very deceptive. It may seem weak at first, but combined with already high power, great abilities, and decent enough damage, it's extremely deadly. Because it boosts power, damage, and will reduce the number of pills needed to win, and it places higher pressure on the opponent to pill big if he wants to stop you, it also creates predictable opponent play, while not limiting your own with the right card choices. Without SOB or DR, Frozn may run rampant all over you, and it doesn't help that they have some of the best 3 stars in the game, and the best 4-star cards, thanks to their abilities, in the game too, I think. Now, let's take a look at the breakdown of the power and damage. First, power. Now, since many clans have an average of 4 to 5 damage, and because their bonus is power and damage related, Frozn should tend to have lower base damage than most other clans. However, their base power should remain high, since they can't win anything with both being low and dependent on revenge, and they're not an attack manipulation clan. They should also have great abilities, because their damage is, well, the worst. So let's look at their breakdown for power first. Frozn's base power stats are remarkable, particularly their 3-star cards. They're Berserk level good, and they'll get you a bonus above that too. That allows Frozn to hit power levels that other clans can only dream about. They've got tons of 8 power cards, and even a 9 power card, that will get a +2, which took Uluwatu forever just to get a few after all these years. This also means that they won't, quote-unquote, waste their abilities on power buffs, and can focus on the scarier abilities and damage buff abilities, making up for their low base damage counts. The biggest issue here is that Frozn can suffer from can't lose this round-itis. They need to be able to lose rounds, but with high base power they can actually present a problem against non-attack manipulation clans. However, against attack manip clans, the attack manip becomes a blessing rather than a curse, allowing Frozn to lose and regain their bonus. Just beware attack manipulation and SOB cards for follow-up rounds. So, the best cards will be 8 power or higher with a good solid ability, like Kalindra CR, Aaron, Loki, and Yod. Or 6 to 7 power with a strong ability, like Ruru, Rad, Stompa, and Aliska. One factor in the good, better, best cards will be how good the card's damage is, since Frozn tends to struggle a bit with their base damage outside of their bonus. So let's take a look at the average damage of the Frozn clan. Admittedly, the average base damage of the Frozn is pretty low. In fact, across the board it's the worst of all the power damage and one-time use bonus clans, aside from their 2-star cards. This means that Frozn cards, to be super effective, will be counting on their bonus. They're almost 1.5 base damage points lower than Banger's cards, and 1 lower than many other clans. This doesn't put them significantly behind, but it does leave them behind. This means many of our cards will have damage manipulation abilities as their default, which we know to be true. This only makes the Frozn clan even more dangerous. See, this means that against SOA they'll retain their power, so they can still win rounds, making them quite resistant to SOA, since many SOA clans suffer from low power. And while SOB really does hurt their bonus, they'll still retain their damage abilities. Besides, their bonus was only going to be used 1 or 2 times anyway. This then makes the Frozn clan actually fairly resistant to SOA and SOB, countering SOB with damage and SOA with power. That's a really scary thought. Going back to the damage issue, let's look at Ruru. What a fantastic card. She's 4 stars, has decent average power, and the best damage for 4-star card in the clan. And a killer conditional ability. How was this card ever made? Who cares? Just stick her in your deck. There's nothing like a Courage 9/8 4DR train coming at you, followed up by a very angry bear rider. Man, I love this clan. Take advantage of the 4 stars and 5 stars damage and you'll be fine, as they bring a bit more punch. Also, don't be afraid to pack a few 2 stars, since their damage is normal for 2-star cards. Just don't use your revenge round on them if you can help it. You'll usually only get 1, so use it well. At the end of the day, we're left with a 7-4-ish with a killer bonus. That's actually pretty good. We'll basically get a 7-4 and a 9-6 to play with. If you can afford to Fury once, that's a solid KO plan right there. Just remember that you'll probably only be getting 1 use of your bonus, so beware DR. Also, don't forget all of your cards will stink on round 1, as they need to warm up first. See what I did there? As a Frozn player, you'll need to find a way to mitigate damage on round 1. Figure out a way to stall for time as well, and not get yourself into a huge mess after round 1 ends. Then, make sure you use that revenge to the best of your ability. Play it right, and the game will be decided after round 2. Next, let's take a look at the LDs, CRs, Miss, Noel, and RBs. Frozen's LD is Tiwi LD. Tiwi LD is the perfect example of an Aming LD for its clan. With offensive and defensive usability, as well as being perfect for round 1 use, Tiwi LD's only downside is his general predictability, since you'll almost always want to ult with him on round 1. This is one LD that you should definitely get ASAP. Frozn currently has 1 CR, Kalindra CR, who went CR on September 16th, 2013. Kalindra CR went CR relatively quickly, being out for just a little over a year, 15 months. So her price has gone upward because she's the clan leader, super powerful, and had a short time in the packs. Get her as soon as you can, because her price will only continue to rise. Kalindra CR is an absolutely horrifying card. Even on her off rounds, if that can be said of her at all, she's 8-8. On revenge rounds with Fury, a 10 power monster with the ability to life gap for 16. 16! Since Frozn's bonus requires you to lose life, you either need DR or a way to heal back up after round 1 and or round 2. Kalindra does just that, and makes Frozn even scarier to face. One wrong move, no SOA or no DR, and the game's already over, basically. As for miscards, Frozn currently doesn't have any. But they do have one Noel card, Brampa Noel, from 2012. He's a reverse Brampa, taking pills away instead of giving them back. He's not an amazing Noel, and it's arguable that he's maybe the worst card in the entire clan. But who doesn't love a good Christmas Yeti? As for RBs, Frozn has no RBs, and they never will, since they're a very recent clan, only created in 2012. As for ELO bans, Frozn currently has 2 permanently banned ELO cards, Kalindra CR and Ruru. As a side note, Stompa has been on and off the player ban list for forever as well. Overall, this means that while some of the very best cards are out of action, you still have access to many of the other dominant Frozn cards for ELO. Next, let's take a look at a breakdown of the abilities and conditions. One of the impressive things about Frozn is how spread out their abilities are. For such a new clan, you'd expect them to not have a lot of different options, but then again, you'd be wrong. This has led to a great diversity within the Frozn clan's abilities. Points of note are that 3 of their 4 DR or defeat cards are conditional, with only Mahimata not being conditional. Their power manipulation is also quite good, all things considered. Their attack manipulation is mostly small or conditional, and their one non-conditional attack manipulation card, Stompa, is an absolute beast that earns plenty of player bans. Their pill manipulation is also not bad, but could definitely be upgraded a bit. Keep an eye out for a 4 to 5 star SOA and a low star SOB card. As for everything else, pretty much all of the other categories have one very good, solid choice, and the ability to gain another very soon. So really, keep your eyes open for every new card for Frozn, but particularly those that aren't conditional. As another side note, I made this list before the newest card, Drac, came out, so Drac has not been included in this list. As for conditionals, Frozn has a ton. They're almost 50-50 on cards for conditionals. A support or high-powered kill shot could become an instant staple, especially since one of Frozen's most annoying weaknesses is perhaps DR. Kill shot would also be a very welcome addition with enough power, say 9 or more, after bonus is included. Also, for me, this is one clan where confidence isn't a horrible conditional. Still, you'll want a card with good base power and damage, plus a killer confidence ability. Aaron and Arlene are excellent examples, keeping them deadly and relevant in all rounds after R1. Next, let's take a look at my favorite card. My favorite card in Frozn to play with is really hard to choose. I love this clan. They are all amazing cards. Do I seriously have to choose just one? It's also hard because I already did an entire video for Aaron. Alright, fine. I guess I'll go with Ruru. Ruru is an amazing 4-star card that should not exist. She's a 5-star hidden as a 4-star, and she has awesome artwork. 7-6? Those are linebacker stats, man. Revenge 9-8? On a DR? DR of 4? What? Min 2? Are you kidding me? Seriously? Her only downside is that her DR is courage conditional, which is semi-bad for DR, I guess. Look at her compared to Vermin N, the king of painful 4-star DR cards. Essentially, 7-7 with -4 min 1. Weak to SOB. Ruru has no SOB weakness, maintains a bit more usefulness versus SOA, and has only 1 less damage and 1 higher min on non-revenge rounds. She only works 2 of the 4 rounds though. With Revenge, however, Ruru becomes 2 power and 1 damage higher than Vermin N. Sorry, but to me, I'd take Ruru any day over Vermin N. No contest. With Ruru, you honestly have no idea if she's being thrown as DR or going for the KO. Now that is an impressive and amazing DR, and one worthy of using at 4 stars. Many 4-star DR have low mins and can't win around for anything. Ruru is both defense and offense, and has rightfully earned her spot on the yellow permaban list. Pick her up ASAP, because she was made to go CR someday. Next, let's take a look at the best and worst cards in the clan, according to star count and then rarity. Again, these choices are just subjective. They're my own personal opinion. I promise I didn't leave off your favorite if it's not there. If you think I made a mistake, feel free to leave a comment down below telling me who you think the best and worst are. Next, let's take a look at some underestimated cards. If I had to reveal my personal diamonds in the rough, I'd have to say Mahimata and Snorkar. Mahimata is easily overlooked in this clan at first. She doesn't have a flashy ability, and she has a lot of competition. However, look at her base stats. 7-4. All of the other 3-star, 4 damage cards have only 6 power. All the other 7+ power cards only have 3 or less base damage. This makes Mahimata more resistant to SOA and gives her more damage. Her ability also makes her a virtual 8 power without her bonus. This means she's basically the same as Loki, except 1 less power, more resistant to SOA, no min on her damage, and a minor DR if she loses. This makes Mahimata much like Romana, a card that seems very meh until you use her and then go, wow, this card's ridiculously solid and versatile. Don't overlook her, because she is potentially the most stable 3-star card in Frozn right now. Snorkar is confidence-based, so many people ignore him. However, Snorkar is the perfect confidence card for Frozn. 6 power helps him lose more easily, and a confidence-based DR is exactly what Frozn needs on their off round, like round 3. Snorkar is the perfect follow-up card on your confidence round, and a 3 DR on a 2-star is fantastic, especially with a min of only 2. This also makes him playable any round after round 1. I highly recommend using this card whenever possible in your decks. Up next, extra info. The Frozn have very little decent attack manipulation, but this is good since they want to be able to lose a few rounds, so Hugo may actually end up hurting them overall. Instead, consider Amber to make their revenge rounds even more deadly. Also, Bridget may be able to help with their DR issue, or Eklor may pair well with additional Frozn pill manipulation. As for common tactics with Frozn, olding, pilling big, olding, and then pilling big. This is the only way for them to get their bonus twice, so try to avoid this situation. This is easiest to disrupt by losing on round 1. Also, you may see them old, and then all in Fury with Kalindra CR. Kalindra CR alone is enough to win the entire match if you can survive to round 4. Often, players will ult with cards like TWLD or lead and ult with Ruru. Finally, we have olding followed by the round 2 all-in Fury with Eleanor. The 2-hit KO you see coming from a mile away. You'd probably get more wins if you waited until round 3 to go all in though. Hint hint. Up next, let's take a look at some example decks. I'll try to cover a bunch of half decks, and then a basic outline for mono decks. Mono isn't the best, because sometimes it's nice to have something that can actually work on round 1. However, it's not uncommon to see mono Frozn decks as well. As for half decks, perhaps one of the best non-ELO T1 half decks that I can think of would be something like Yod, Loki, Ruru, and Stompa. At 13 stars, this half deck would make anyone cry. As for a low star, how about Snorkar, Yod, Loki, and Mahimata, 10 stars. Looking for attack manipulation? Try Milka, Nikiloda, Stampa, and Aaron, 14 stars. Worried about SOB? Yod, Anuka, Mikal, and Stampa, 13 stars. Slightly better SOB version would replace Stampa with Rad. If you're worried about SOA, go with Yod, Mahimata, Stooge, and Aaron, 13 stars. If you want full anti-SOA, replace Yod with Nunavik. For power manipulation, go with Yod, Titsuk, Mahimata, and Rahampa, 11 stars. For a stronger version, replace Yod with Aya for 14 stars. Looking to control your opponent? Go with Anuka, Haken, Sabrinak, and Rad, 14 stars. Looking for damage prevention? Snorkar, Mahimata, Tiwi-LD, and Ruru, 12 stars. If you're looking for some kind of T1 pill manipulation, go with Brampa, Winzy, Sabrinak, and Arlene at 11 stars. For a stronger version, replace Brampa with Thorpa for 14 stars. For a T1 Transformer deck, as I would like to call it, go with Snorkar, Anuka, Benki, and Aaron, 14 stars. For a T2 Transformer, go with Arlene, Benki, Aaron, and Aya for 18 stars. If you're looking for a budget deck, then go something along the lines of Nunavik, Anuka, Aliska, and Tsuka, 13 stars. As for mono decks, in ELO it should look something like this. Yod, Snorkar, or Nunavik, choose one. Anuka and Loki, along with Haken, Makimata, Sabrinak, and Tiwi-LD, choose 3. And then Arlene, Aliska, and Rahampa, choose 2. If you prefer to have a 5-star card, it's not much of a problem since you've got plenty of awesome 3-star cards. So, try something like Yod, Snorkar, and Nunavik, choose 2, Anuka and Loki, Haken, Mahimata, Sabrinak, and Tiwi-LD, choose 2, Arlene, Aliska, and Rahampa, choose 1, and then Aaron, Rad, and Thorpa, choose 1. You can also try Eleanor, but I wouldn't necessarily recommend it. For T2, go with Aaron, Brock, Kalindra CR, Rad, and Thorpa. Also, Ruru and Stampa. Finally, choose 1 from Arlene, Aliska, Rahampa, Aya, and Eleanor. Hopefully that gives you at least a few ideas. Good luck with your deck building. Finally, let's take a look at the clan comparisons. So which clans will Frozn have the easiest time dispatching? Well, perhaps in general, I would say Berserk, Freaks, Junks, Raptors, Riots, Sacrom, and Vortex. These clans will have difficulty against Frozn because they can easily outpower their opponents. They are also more versatile and thus able to handle more situations better. However, be careful around the following clans: All-Stars, Geist, Hurricane, Montana, Nightmare, Piranhas, and Uluwatu. These clans will stop your bonus, which can really hurt you. They may also outpower you or force you to deal with their own annoying attack manipulation, keeping you from sneaking in a win or possibly destroying your setups. The key to success, as always, is to make sure that you commit to and win the right rounds with the right cards. Well, this concludes my Frozn clan review. I hope you feel like you learned something and feel better prepared to both play with and against the Frozn clan. I hope you also felt like this video helped tie together all the previous clan reviews into a nice little package. If you like this video, then make sure to click that like button and share it. I make these videos so others, including you, can learn about and enjoy Urban Rivals. Nothing makes me happier than when you guys enjoy these videos. Don't forget to leave a comment down below as well if you think there's anything that I forgot to mention, and while you're there, let me know which Frozn card is your favorite. And of course, don't forget to subscribe for more of my Urban Rivals videos. This is Xonia, and you've been in the zone.